You're tuned in to Recap Station. Today we're talking about the 1981 film Time Bandits. It's a fantasy adventure film about a young boy named Kevin. The film stars Sean Connery, John Cleese, and Shelley Duvall, and it was directed by Terry Gilliam. And remember, spoilers ahead. Stay tuned. The scene starts off with a TV commercial of some luxury kitchen. A family consisting of parents and a son sits in front of a TV. The parents are watching TV, but the kid named Kevin is reading some history book. The father tells Kevin that it is bedtime and Kevin leaves for his room to sleep. While lying on his bed, Kevin experiences some sort of hallucination, in which a man fully armed on horseback passes in front of him. Kevin wakes up to see and turns on the light. Suddenly his father turns up and asks him to sleep and turn off the light. Next night Kevin's mom is making milkshakes for him while he is having his supper. Kevin leaves for his room while his parents are watching some TV show. This time Kevin is ready. It seems he thinks that the same thing would happen again. He takes the camera and torch with him but nothing happens, and Kevin sleeps. After some time the cupboard, from which the horse rider came, shakes again, and some dwarfs come out of it. It seems that they have stolen something from someone and are trying to escape him. Kevin wakes up and flashes the light onto their faces. They run with fear thinking that the owner of the map they have stolen has arrived, but when they see Kevin they come to know that it's not him and attack Kevin. They ask Kevin to tell them the way out, but Kevin says that he doesn't know himself. They start beating him and press him against the wall. The wall starts sliding back, which the wall had never done before. A big lighted face comes into the room following them and saying that they must return the map. The dwarfs and Kevin run, sliding the wall further and further until finally the space ends, and all of them fall in a dark empty space. They are dropped into a farm sort of place where hens and ducks are in sight. Kevin tries to run to seeking for help and comes to know that he has time traveled with dwarfs, and is in 1796 the Battle of Castiglione. Dwarfs catch Kevin and tell him that they are international robbers and do robberies. They are here to rob Napoleon. Napoleon is seen watching a puppet show, and by chance, the puppet man is shot and dies. Napoleon asks for more, so as a replacement, the dwarfs start to show a performance. Napoleon likes the performance, and asks all the dwarfs and Kevin to be generals for some time, dismissing all the other generals he had. It seems like Napoleon is in the complex of not being a tall guy and is jealous of tall guys and wants to be surrounded by short men only. Napoleon and all the dwarfs are seen eating on the table where Napoleon tells them about a lot of successful military commanders who were dwarfs. During this he drinks a lot of wine and goes to sleep on the chair he is sitting on. Dwarfs get up and clean up all the wealth there. They come to know by the map they have that there is a time hole near them which will close by 12 o'clock. The black hole they jumped into before was also a time hole. They, while going to time, are followed by soldiers but successfully escape. They land into a buggy where a prince and his fiancée copyright are traveling, almost 500 years before Napoleon was born, in the Middle Ages. They jump out of the buggy and pick up all their loot. Kevin clicks a photo of them and asks them the basic purpose of the map. They tell him that the universe is not perfect from every side and there are some places from where it is torn, and those places are basically the time holes. Suddenly they hear help, help. They see the same price and his fiancée copyright, and this time robbers have caught them looting everything they have and tying them by the tree. Dwarfs follow the robbers and are caught in a trap. Robbers inquire why they are following them, and the dwarfs ask about a meetup with their boss. The robbers take them to a small population where they come to know that their boss is basically Robin Hood. He distributes all of their loot to the poor and the dwarfs leave in anger. The dwarves fight in the jungle about the leader post of the gang. A man in some dark place sees them through magic and asks, how could Supreme Being let them steal the map? Supreme Being is completely incompetent. He calls himself evil and says he is more powerful than Supreme Being. A man in his vicinity says, then why are you unable to free yourself from this fortress? Then evil kills and man answers that he stays here so Supreme Being gets a false sense of security. Evil sits on his chair while one of the workers, Benson, tells him that the dwarfs have brought the map with them and it's the best chance to get the map. The evil gets into a dwarf and gives them the idea of getting the most precious object in the world. The evil is making a bait. Suddenly Kevin asks why they go for the money all the time, and the connection of evil breaks from them. The Supreme Being comes in saying again and again, return the map, return what you have stolen. They make their way to the time hole. When Kevin reaches it, there are 2 time holes and Kevin jumps into one and it immediately closes. It seems like Kevin has jumped into the wrong time hole. The fighter is seen fighting with some creature which has a body like a man but a head like a bull. Kevin falls on the warrior, distracting the creature, and the warrior kills the creature. Kevin goes with the warrior to the city. This warrior turns out to be King Agamemnon, who was on a mission to kill this creature who disturbed the people. Kevin watches him doing his duties in the court and clicks some photos as well. Agamemnon asks him if he likes to go back, but Kevin says no. The queen, the wife of Agamemnon, doesn't seem happy with Kevin. While Kevin is sleeping, two masked men pick him up and take him with them to place him on the horseback. After a bit of distance, Kevin is unmounted. There is a larger crowd there, and King Agamemnon is also seated. Agamemnon announces that from this moment forward Kevin will stay with them in the city, and has become his own son and will be heir to the throne after him. The party begins with some special dance and small magic tricks. Suddenly Kevin comes to know that dancers are none other but dwarfs. Dwarfs pretend like they are going to perform some sort of magic trick and collect all the jewelry from the crowd, even the crown of king, and just disappear in a time hole. They all land on a ship, changing their clothes, which they enjoy for some time. Kevin is seen a bit upset for leaving Agamemnon, but Randall the dwarf, who is somehow the dwarf's leader, tells him that they must go into the fortress of ultimate darkness to find the most fabulous object of all time. Suddenly the ship sank after hitting an iceberg. This ship was none other than Titanic. The dwarfs and Kevin take hold of a plank. They find a time hole in the water and travel to the era where the ultimate fortress of darkness is present. They land in the water as well, where they find a ship in which an ogre and his wife live. Ogre, trying to catch fish, catches the dwarfs and Kevin. Ogre's wife asks him to put them in the pot in order to cook and eat them. Ogre, while trying to do so, faces back pain. Kevin tells him a cure and they trick him out of the boat. They push his wife out as well. Taking over the boat, they sail towards the fortress of darkness. In journey, a giant comes out of sea carrying their boat on his head. Kevin injects sleeping potion into his head, which makes him go to sleep, and Kevin and dwarfs leave the boat. They just keep on walking without knowing whether they would find the fortress of darkness or not. They stop at an invisible barrier. This is the point when all of them become disappointed and start to fight with each other. Randall accidentally throws something towards the barrier and it breaks like a glass, unveiling the ultimate fortress of darkness. The evil and his partners set up a trap for them and they fell into the trap. They are locked in a cage and the map is snatched from them. Sitting in disappointment, Kevin looks at the pictures he has clicked all the way through the journey. Suddenly he sees a picture in which a map is also seen. Kevin and Randall find a hole which is just beneath their hanging cage. They get out of their cage with extreme difficulty using the rope. When they are about to leave, Kevin asks them if they should get the map back from Evil as well. Otherwise he would destroy the world. Evil enjoys his victory with his crew members and plans to create a new world full of badness. Kevin and dwarfs come in and steal the map while the evil is away. While leaving the evil's room, he notices them and turns one of them into a pig from his powers, but they keep on running. A lot of evil's guards behind them. They decide to split up. Kevin and the one dwarf turns into a pig while the others leave to search for help. They are all surrounded by the guards of evil. Evil tries to turn Kevin into some animal. When all of the dwarfs come with help from different ages, cowboys, cavalry and tanks. All of the attacks on evil are of no use, as he bounces everything fired over him. When all of the attacks are over, the evil tries to kill the dwarfs and Kevin. Suddenly the evil turns into a statue and Supreme Being arrives in the shape of a man. Supreme Being tells them this all was a test and that he always knew the dwarfs would steal the map. Dwarfs request him to give them back their old job and he replies positively. Supreme and dwarfs leave the fortress magically. Kevin is covered all in smoke and suddenly finds himself on his bed. Kevin notices that his house is on fire and firefighters come in and rescue him. His mother and father were standing outside the house. The cause of the fire is some oven left turned on. Kevin stands outside of his house looking at the pictures of his wonderful trip, while his parents disappear after touching the remains of evil in the oven.